Hello, and welcome to Learn Python 3 the Hard Way, Exercise 0. This Exercise 0 is for Windows. So if you are running Mac OS X or Linux, you should switch over to that Exercise 0. This is going to set everything up on your Windows machine. I'm using a Windows 10 machine. This might work on Windows 7, but I don't directly support Windows 7 or XP or any of the other older versions of Windows. Simply because I don't have one. And also, most of this stuff works better on Windows 10 anyways. The installation is very simple. You're going to eventually have things set up so that you can do this. You'll have code and your PowerShell, or I call it a terminal because I'm an old school Unix person. But for now, you have to download some software. So follow the instructions in the book. It's pretty straightforward. If you're used to downloading games or any other software, this should be fine. The first thing you're going to download is Atom. Now, I've already downloaded Atom and installed it, but let me see if I can do this again so that you can run it. Let's do save. And see, I've already downloaded it 2 times, so we can actually probably just cancel it instead of waiting 1 minute. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open downloads like that. You can see I have a whole bunch of different tools I've downloaded, and I've got the Atom 64 set up. So I'm going to double click that. And this is going to rerun my installation. So one thing you're going to see is Atom just goes and starts installing. So let me pop over to that screen, and you'll see it closed my Atom down. Atom's the text editor that we're going to be running. So once this is done running its install, you'll see the Atom text editor pop back up. Now, if you're not familiar with programmer text editors and things like that, basically the gist of it is you can work in like a word processor, like say Microsoft Word or some other, Mac OS has Pages. Programmers need a specialized text editor. So in my case, my specialized text editor is this one called Atom. Now, I'm going to show you also how to install Visual Studio Code. So let me do that. The reason why is sometimes, I'm going to move this one over to there. Sometimes the Atom text editor doesn't work as well. And Microsoft is putting in a lot of work to make Visual Studio Code very nice. So let me do Visual Studio Code. And we can go to the official site. And we can download the stable build for Windows. Now, I've already done this. It's just the standard installer. There's no like little tips or tricks or anything. And if I do this, I can do Visual Studio Code. And you'll see it looks a lot like Atom when it starts up. And that's because Microsoft kind of copied Atom, I want to say. So I can actually pop these over to this desktop. Go like this, and move that over there real quick, and let me do that. And you see side by side, they're really, really similar. So it just comes down to whichever one works best for you. I'm actually probably going to use Visual Studio Code for a lot, but I'll switch to Atom just so you know. But for the most part, they work nearly the same. There's a couple of settings in Atom that I will cover in Exercise 1 that you might want to turn off, and those will help you with your programming. Anyways, that is my install for the text editors. Now there's one more text editor you can do. If even this is too much, you can do one called Notepad++. And this one, Notepad++, it's a programmer's text editor, but it's very, very, very simple. Okay. And Notepad++ has been around for a while. It should work on, if you have an old version of Windows, this is the text editor to get. It will or an older computer, it will most likely work better. Atom and Visual Studio Code are designed to work with a lot of features that different programming languages have. So there's a little more advanced, a little more useful. But if you can't get those to run, use Notepad++. All right, once you have those, you then need to go get yourself some Python. Now, I have a link in the book to Python 360. So you see this, right? And when I click that, it loads up that page, Python 3.6.0. Now that's the version that works on the day I wrote the book. And software changes, so what we want is, even though it says 360, we want to come down to here to 361. Now there might be an even later version. By the time you get this book, it could be years. There might be 3.6.2, 3.6.11, 3.6. There might even be 3.7. Maybe that's what we want to go with. But you should stick with the 3.6 series for doing this book. Now, all you got to do to get the 3.6.1, which is the most recent, is see how I'm scrolling this down, and you're going to look for the Windows 64-bit installer. So the Windows 64-bit executable installer, and I'm going to save that. And this is going to download. And then there's a security scan, and I'm going to run it really quick. And this is standard. There's nothing fancy, but I want you to pay very close attention. Okay? Are you paying very close attention? See this tiny little checkbox down here? I got my mouse on it. I'm going to check and uncheck it. I'm going to check this a whole bunch of times so you can see what I'm checking. Make sure you check this. It should be checked like that. This right here must be checked. If not, you can just rerun this installer. If you messed up and you forgot to click that, then just rerun it and it'll do everything. So what I can do then is I can just say install now. I am installing Python. Now you need the admin access because Python installs itself into a lot of different locations. It updates desktop, it updates system things, it's doing quite a lot. But once you're done with that, once you have some admin access and you're done, then that's it. Okay, when this finishes, I will then, while that finishes, I'm going to show you how to get, or what PowerShell looks like. So, go here and max that out. All right, so this is PowerShell. Okay, and I can do things like clear. It's actually a very, very good shell, and it runs everywhere. I actually really like PowerShell quite a lot, but I'm going to close it. I'm going to show you how to get to it. So I'm just hitting the Windows key, and truth is, I'm actually using a Mac keyboard, so I'm hitting the Command key on the Mac, which is the Command key for Windows, and then you type PowerShell like that. Now I'm going to show you something. Do not run this one. This PowerShell ISE is useless. Don't bother with it. It doesn't work. I'm not sure. It's missing all kinds of stuff. You want this PowerShell, Windows PowerShell. All right, max that out, and that's pretty much PowerShell. You're going to learn a lot about it. If you don't know anything about it, you can go to Appendix A, but we're going to cover that a lot more. Okay, now back to Desktop 1. It was successful for my install. I'm done. Now, if you have an older machine that is not 64-bit, so see how I downloaded the 64? You want to do this one, the x86 one. And let me just magnify up here. So what you want, oh no, that is not going to work. What you want is this one, this executable installer. Okay, now once that's installed, in theory, I should be able to do Python version, and it should say Python 3.6.1, and we're done. So, all right, now that we have that, we've got one of the text editors. I'm going to use, let's use Atom. I'm going to close Visual Studio Code, go to Atom, and we can ditch that. And I'm going to show you really quick what I'm doing. See how I'm making my windows kind of max out? See how I'm moving them around like that? I'm not using my mouse to do that. Okay, what you do is if you hold down the Windows key and you use the arrow keys, you can move your windows around like that. So it's very convenient. It basically tiles them for side by side. We're going to talk in exercise 1 about why that's not such a great thing. But for now, for me, this is how you can see it. All right, now that we've done that, we're going to go look at my exercise. And we're going to see, let's take a look. Let's look. All right, so once we start this up, we want to run Python, okay, and we want to hit quit. So let's go ahead and do that. So let me check this out. I want to do Python like that and see how it says 361 right here. Good. And then we type the word quit and a left parentheses and a right parentheses and hit enter. There you go. So that just gets me out of Python. Okay, once we've done that, I showed you how to do PowerShell. And then we want to do our text editor and save it into a directory. All right, so I'm going to pick a directory called lpthw, and I've already created it. So let's just switch to it, back over here. And if you don't know how to do this stuff, I'm going to do cd lpthw. I've already created it, and I've already got a bunch of files in there. Let me just move that over. So you see I have these because I've been basically preparing. So I'm going to start over like that. I have nothing. Okay, I can even do this. Okay, that deletes my directory. So make dir. Okay, and then go there. And then we're ready to go. So we're going to try and save a file in that. I'm going to show you a quick trick. If I do CDL and hit the tab character, I can cycle through all the different things. See how all the names changed? Until I get to lpthw and hit enter. So tab will complete file names. Okay, so I've done that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do file, and I'm going to do a new file. And one thing we can do, I'm going to get rid of that welcome. So I'm just going to type some text. We're going to go blah, 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 like that. And we're going to save it. And then what we want to be able to do is save it in the lpthw directory. Okay. Now I've pinned it to my Explorer quick links. But if you haven't done that, then you have to do this thing where you have to go to this PC, local disk. You have to find it. You can also do it up there. But if you know Windows really well, you should try to pin this to your quick, because you're going to be going into here a whole lot. So once I've done that, I'm going to call this test.txt. I'm going to save it. Editor is not responding. Let's see, keep waiting. All right. If that happens to you, it's totally fine. It most likely happens to me because I'm running a screen recorder that eats up a ton of CPU. So don't worry about it for you. And then let's just make sure that we found it. So we do ls, and let me max that out. And then do cat t. There we go. That's the contents of the file. If you take a look up here, you can see that, and you can see down there. So we're all good on that. That is pretty much everything you need to get started. When we get to exercise 1, I'm going to cover a couple of settings and some key things in here. For example, if you hit Alt and Backspace, you get a nice little directory viewer. And then if you come up here, you can kind of close that. Sometimes, let's see. Maybe not. Let's see if we can do it again. Nope. Yeah, for whatever reason, it will not do that now. But I will find out by exercise 1 how to get rid of this text viewer pane in case you want to do that. All right, that should be everything for installing and getting started with Windows. Again, if you want to do this on Linux, then there's Linux videos. So if you have a Windows machine and you want to run VirtualBox or just install Linux, then there's one for that. All right, I will see you at exercise 1.